Hi guys. Happy Thursday. I just realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I have not done a video in a minute, like some days, so I just like, let me go on here and talk for a second. I get so busy sometimes where I don't even pay attention to time a lot of times, to be honest with you guys. So I don't like I do my videos intuitively, but then when I feel like I need to do a video, I just look at the time frame. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been a minute, so I mean, that's what happened today. And I was just like, let me go talk to them, so they can know I'm alive. But anyway, hopefully you guys are doing good and stuff. I'm doing good. I've just been doing me and doing what I have to do, of course. So yeah, it's so funny. Okay, so I know last time I think I was talking to you guys about fear a little bit, but that's what I learned actually on my, I'll say it's a self-discovery journey. That's one thing I actually learned during my self-discovery journey, pretty much trying to figure out who I am and figure out the truth. And that's kind of like how Isis was, but Isis is like the Greek name of Aset. So Aset was a goddess too, but she went out to seek for the truth too, and for the seekers of the universe, or just the truth in general. That's who she was. But they named her Isis, so Isis is the same thing as Aset. Aset was just like more of the Egyptian name for her, but she did the same thing. It's funny, but through her research and stuff, she actually found a lot of truths, and she actually gained a lot of wisdom because of her seeking for the truth. But she's pretty much Isis, and Isis is just Isis is just a different name for her, but the original name is Aset, just like Osiris is Asar. Osiris, his original name. I don't know, but anyway, we'll get into that later. But anyway, fear was the first thing I actually learned through my self-discovery journey, and how to lose it, because it pretty much does nothing but kills. It does not do anything for you as far as it being beneficial. It's just a blockage, and so that's one thing I actually learned on my discovery. Another thing I learned was how we're all a part of everything, right? Everybody is a part of everything. So like me, I'm connected to everything. Like I'm connected to you guys. I'm connected to the trees, the plants, the dogs, the animals, the birds, the water, air, everything, right? So I learned that too. I never really thought too much into that before until I came across it, and I think that was that benefited me a lot during my self-discovery journey, knowing that I'm a part of everything. So knowing that I can't take certain actions, because if I do certain things, it's going to affect other people, because we're all connected, if that makes sense. And so I've always thought like that anyway, but getting like actual information on it, like the facts and stuff, it actually made more sense to me, so I'm not really selfish. So like, even if I do like a video on here because it's one of my passions, even though it's a passion of mine, it can still help someone out there that I don't even know, but that's because we're all connected in a way, so you got to be careful how you treat people, because you're still hurting yourself, right? Because eventually, like, let's say you harm someone, right? You're eventually gonna get that consequence for doing that, and then even though you inflicted upon someone else, you still get the consequences for it because you took the action. So regardless if you feel like you got away with it, you know, or not, or whatever, you're still gonna get the karma for that, right? And so but we're all connected. So even a victim that you do it to, you know, they have to suffer, but on top of that, there people that's connected to them do too. Maybe they'll lose sleep or feel uneasy, you know, because of what happened to the person that they're connected to, or maybe they will suffer some type of loss, you know, but that's because we're all connected. So you got to be careful about the actions you take against other people for your own selfish needs, you know. So that's why I kind of like always have it in my mind that, you know, regardless if I'm having a bad day, regardless if I'm going through bad things, you know, we're all still connected. So I'm not going to go out and be rude to the next person, or, you know, inflict my pain upon other people, you know, because, or just by having an attitude, you know, it could mess somebody else's day up, you know, because that's just how the universe works. You know, so you just gotta be careful. And then I learned that through my self-discovery journey. The craziest thing though to me is like let me look behind me. Okay. The craziest thing to me is like, before I even went on my self-discovery journey, I think I went on my self-discovery journey, I want to say in 2020. That's when it really started for me. But the craziest thing is like, before, I think it was in 2019. Yeah, I think it was around my birthday, because I remember I was at the house and I wasn't alone. I was alone because my partner at the time, he had went out I think he went overseas for something. And I was at the house, probably watching his house or something, because that was before I moved in. Wait, I think I had just moved in actually. So this is in 2019, August of 2019. And he was gone, I remember. And we had this device where we could watch any show we wanted, right? Stream it, right? And so I love Martin, so I would watch Martin a lot back then. So I remember he was gone and I had streamed Martin, and I was watching all the seasons. And I remember I was on a bed watching it, and this episode came on. It was like 3 in the freaking morning, and the episode was about, I think Martin had lost his job and he wasn't doing so well. And he's trying to find a job, and he just pretty much left and went his own self-discovery journey. And I think he joined like some type of organization, and he pretty much left everybody behind and went on his own journey, like literally. And I thought that episode was super hilarious. I remember recording it, and like, I still have the recording. It's funny. I remember recording it and sending it to the group chat with my sisters, because we would laugh a lot about certain things. And because I thought it was freaking hilarious. But not even knowing that sooner, like within a couple months, I was gonna have to go on my own self-discovery journey. Isn't that crazy? And it's like the universe is just prepping me, like, okay, this is what's gonna happen to you. Okay, I need you to watch this episode so you can to kind of help navigate. You know, but I think a couple months out, because that was in August or September of 2019. Then I left in March of 2020, and I ended up going to do my own thing, you know. So I didn't even know. But I learned that we are all a part of each other, you know. I learned that, but I already knew that. But that's why I don't like walk around and be selfish, you know. Like, I try to take other people into consideration when I do certain things, you know. So even if I'm mad at someone, I'm not gonna come over here and just blast everybody. Like, I'm gonna tell my truth, I'm gonna speak my truth, but I'm not gonna like bash people, you know, because if I do that, then it's gonna affect me too, and then, you know, it just goes on as a domino effect. I just know better. I also believe that there's an unseen force in the universe too that sees everything. And that's why like you got to be careful what you do too, because even if you think you're getting away with certain things, you're really not, because there's always an unseen force that sees everything. And that's kind of like how karma plays out. Like if you think you're getting away with certain things and then all of a sudden you get karma for it randomly, you didn't even expect it. But that's because there's always an unseen force outside of ourselves that's actually playing out too. So if you think you're away with certain things behind the scenes, you know, eventually it'll come back. You'll get the karma for that. That's what I believe. And so, like, even if like people would do certain things towards me, like back in the day and stuff like that, I wouldn't get too upset. I kind of like brush it off and just ignore them and just not talk to them, you know, instead of feeding into it. But that saved me a lot if I think about it. It really did. Because I knew eventually it'll play out and they'll get their karma back for it. I just let God handle it, literally. So that's kind of how I did with my ex too, because, and this is another reason why I'm a strong believer that, you know, there's an unseen force that we don't usually see that is actually playing out around us too, you know, and it's a part of the universe, because it's so crazy. I used to, there's this guy we used to know. He's super sweet to me. Like, I used to work with him. He used to be a manager, and he would be the one you call on if you need help or anything, you know. He's really super cool with me. And I remember when I first met my ex, he had took me to this barbecue, and it was one of his friend's house. It was a female, of course, but she was married, so I didn't think too much about it, you know. And she had a friend with her or whatever, and we went to the barbecue. And this is like the beginning of our relationship, so nobody knew that we were talking or anything like that. I just showed up with them, right? And so her friend was like kind of hitting on him, like she's trying to show her chest and do all this weird stuff, right? And so I didn't really get mad because it was fresh, you know, like that's on her, you know. But I mentioned to him in a car, you know, later, he told me not to worry about it. So it's so crazy because I think like I think the girl that went to her house, she actually worked with me at the time. But I didn't really know her too well, so I didn't really talk to her. But like, I remember after the barbecue and stuff, she would like watch me at work. It was weird. So like, she would be sitting at her desk, and her desk was like way on the other side of the office from where my desk was, you know. And she would just stare at me all the time. And so like, I would just be like sitting there like, why is she doing that? You know, it's creepy. So like, I'll be working and stuff, and then I'll just look up, you know, and I just see her staring at me from her computer from across the freaking office, like far across the office. And so I'll just be like, why is she looking at me, you know? And so then like, as time goes by, we'll walk past each other, you know, walking in the building, you know, and she'd be like, can I have his number? Like, I lost his number. We lost contact. Do you have his number? I want to say hi to him. I would never give her his number. Like, what would I look like giving you his number? Like, no. You should have his number if you guys are that close, you know. That's how I thought. And so, and I would tell him about it, you know. And then he'd be like, don't give her my number. I just don't want nothing to do with them like that. Like, don't give her my number. And so I wouldn't give her his number. And so that's how he would talk to me. Like, I don't want them to have my number. Don't give her anything. I don't want to be associated with her or anything like that, you know. And so her friend that was hitting on him at the barbecue, she ended up getting a job with us. And she was super rude to me one day. Like, she started going, like, she was being really rude to me one day, like talking crap, all kinds of stuff, right? I think she's supposed to move, I think, from my seat, and she didn't want to. It's something weird. She did something, I forget. But my manager, the one I was telling you guys about, he came up and went off on her. You know, he's just like, why do you have an attitude with her? Like, she didn't even do anything. I sat here and watched the whole thing. Like, what's your issue? And she's like, I can't believe you are taking up for her. I cannot believe you. Are you serious? You're going to take up for that? You're going to take up for that? And, you know, a lot of people had crushes on him, of course, too. I didn't, you know, but a lot of people did. And so she was upset that he was taking up for me. And she's like, I can't believe you taking up for that B and all this stuff, right? And he's like, you need to be quiet and just, like, get a hold of yourself, because you obviously have a deeper seated issue that you need to deal with. And he's just like, you just need to move. And then she got super upset about that. And I was just, like, thinking in my head, I was like, I never gave this girl a reason not to like me. But I knew that she was flirting with I knew she was flirting with my ex at the barbecue. So I was like, maybe that's why, you know. And so as time went by, you know, my manager, he ended up dating my sister at the time. And he was super cool with me, like, all the time. Like, he would give me free cannabis all the time. He'd be like, Danica, here, just take this. And I'd be like, no, I'm good. And he'd be like, no, just take it. He would just always give me free stuff, you know. He just looked out for me all the time. And I think it's just because he probably just knew who I was, you know. That I wasn't a bad person, you know. So he would just give me stuff all the time without anything in return, you know. He didn't expect anything. And so I just thought he's really cool, because he always had my back. And going back to what I was talking about the unseen forces, you know, at that time, I don't think he liked after he got with my sister and stuff, I don't think he liked my ex. I think they got in a fight once, like an argument, and he just said he didn't like him. And so he didn't really talk to him and stuff like that. They never hung out and stuff like that, you know. But he loved Big Sean. He used to be obsessed with Big Sean. And like, he's so obsessed with Big Sean that he would play his album all day, like every day, all day, every day. Like, I think he would play Paradise a lot. Like, Paradise was his favorite song. So you could hear him pulling up like 3 miles away. Like, literally, you could just hear his subs bumping Paradise. So we'd be like, oh, what's his face is here, you know, he's about to pull up. We gotta go outside, you know. Paradise is his favorite song, and he's obsessed with Big Sean. And I will never forget that. Every time we were in his car, he always be bumping Paradise. And I'd be like, why does he love this song so much? But now I think about it, it's so crazy when I listen to that song now. You know, with everything that happened in my life too. I just feel like, did he know? You know, I don't know. It's just crazy now I think about it. But Paradise is his favorite song on the album. And I just remember him being obsessed with Big Sean. And he came to our house on Thanksgiving. The last time I seen him alive, he came to our house on Thanksgiving. And I think Big Sean was performing for the Super Bowl. If I remember right, he was performing on something. I don't know if it was the Super Bowl, but I think it was. But he's performing, and the last memory I have of him, you know, I came into the living room and to sit down to watch the show, and I remember there was no room left, and he was like, Danica, take my seat. And I was just like, no, I'm good, I'll stand up, you know, I'm straight. And he was like, no, get up, take my seat, I'll get up, you know. So he let me have his seat. And that's the last memory I have of him. And it's so sweet, you know, because he let me sit down, you know. He wasn't being selfish, you know. So that's like the best memory I have of him before he even passed, because he passed away the next day after Thanksgiving. So he passed away on Black Friday. It's pretty huge. Like, he passed away at Planned Parenthood. There was a shooting at Planned Parenthood, and he used to be in the military. So he's trying to save people before he got shot, and he ended up getting shot, and they call him a hero, you know. And but he passed away, and that's the last memory I remember of him. He passed away. And going back to my story, I remember he passed away. A little bit after he passed away, it may have been like a year, like he passed away, and then like a little bit after he passed away, maybe a week or something, I remember I went to my ex house, and it was on TV. Like, that's how big the shooting was. It was on all over TV. So I remember I was watching it a little bit, and then I passed out on the couch, and my ex is on the other side of the couch. He's asleep, and I just remember this this brown, like, shadowy figure coming down from the hallway light. You know, it was dark in the house, but the hall light was on. And there was this shadow that had came from the light. And it was like, it descended from the light, and then it started walking towards me. And then it was hugging me. It was trying to hug me. And I was just like, stop hugging me, because it smelled really bad. So I was like, you stink, you know. And it was just hugging me. It was just kept hugging me. No matter how much I tried to push it off me, it kept hugging me. And then when I woke up, I was like, that's probably him, you know, his spirit trying to say bye to me. But he always had my back, you know. But I always say you got to be careful how you treat people and what you do, because I believe in unseen forces, you know. Because I think like a year or two after that, my ex, like the guy that passed away I told you guys about, he knew the girl that I went to her house for the barbecue. He knew her, and he knew she was married too, right? So, but he would always tell me, like, because I would tell him like she was trying to get his number, my ex, you know, and he would tell me to be careful, because he said she used to do that to him, and he was married, you know, at one point. And so he was saying he didn't really like her too much, and be careful. And I think it was like a year or two after he had passed, my ex had told me, I had went to his house, and he's telling me that he's going out that night. And I didn't really care when he hung out with his friends, because it's his friends, like, who cares, you know. So I was just like, yeah, that's cool. And I ain't like going out anyway with them, because they didn't really dance. They just did nothing but stand there and look at people, right? And so like, I didn't mind staying home, right? I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stay here and watch movies. And that's what I did that night, right? But before I did that, I went to liquor store, of course. I got me some liquor. I'm like, I'm gonna turn up then, you know, if I'm gonna be here by myself. So I went to liquor store, and he was there, and he was being shady, really shady. So he tried to play it off, but I could pick it up, but he's being shady towards me at the liquor store. And so as he was leaving the liquor store, he looks at me in his car, and he's like, I just want to let you know, it's just gonna be me and the guys. There ain't no girls, just me and the guys, just to let you know. And I was just like, that was the first red flag, because I never accused him of being with no females, you know. I was just like, okay, you know. And then he started driving off all weird, and I was just like, why do I feel like he's being shady in the liquor store? When I got to the house, you know, I was just like, he's being super shady. I think he's being shady. I didn't think about it though. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna enjoy myself. And I remember I passed out on the couch, and I woke up at like 3, and he still wasn't home, and I was just like, whatever. So I went to the room, and I went to sleep. And when I fell asleep in a room, I had a dream about my sister's ex, the one I had passed away. And he was on the bed. So he's laying on the bed, sitting up on the bed, looking at me. And I was sitting on the ground, leaning on the bed, listening to him. And he was like telling me all this stuff, like, he was telling me all the stuff that was happening, I guess. I don't even remember what he's telling me, but I remember he's telling me something. And then he showed me, like, we were just in, all of a sudden we just ended up being in front of my ex's house outside. And we're looking at his house. It was me, my sister's ex that passed away, and we're all, and my sister. We're all standing outside of my ex's house, and we're looking at it from the sidewalk, and his house is literally crumbling into the ground. Like, if you guys have watched Poltergeist, it was just like that. Like, his house is just crumbling into the ground, and we're just watching it crumble. And then I woke up, you know, and so I woke up and I was laying on the bed. I was like, that's weird. I had a dream about what's his face, you know. I can't believe he came into my dream, you know. And remind you guys, he didn't really like him that much. And so I remember I was laying there and I was just like, this is weird. The sun was out. You could see the sun. So it was like 6 in the morning, 6 or 7. And I was like, he's still not here. I don't think he's here. And so I was just like, that's crazy. I didn't text him or anything. I was just sitting there thinking about my dream and what he was telling me, you know. And so then all of a sudden I hear the front door open. I was just like, oh, he just now got here, you know. So I stayed in the room and I was just listening. And usually he would come to the room, but he didn't. And so I was sitting there like, he didn't come to the room. Why? You know? And so then I heard him on the phone a little bit yelling. And then I was just like, what happened? And so I went and acted like I went to go get water. So I went in the kitchen and got water. And he's holding his face. And his shirt has stuff all over it. And so I was just like, are you okay? And then he started cussing and doing all this weird stuff. And I was just like, what happened? And so I walked over to him. And he took his hand off his face. And his eye was freaking huge. He had a huge black eye. And there's blood all over his shirt. He had like a white wife beater on, and it was blood everywhere. And like, he is so embarrassed. He's just holding onto his face. Like, he didn't want me to look at him. He didn't even want to go outside. That's how embarrassed he was. I'd take him to the hospital because of his black eye. He couldn't see. They literally had to give him some ointment for his eye. That's how bad it was. And so he gave me the story, but I really didn't believe his story because it didn't make sense. I think he said he got punched in the club because of something. He cut somebody off. I'm just like, okay, you cut in front of the guy and then he just punched you. Like, I don't know about this. But I never tripped. But the thing is, like, I didn't have to. And because eventually I knew I was going to find out the truth, you know. And sure enough, I think maybe a week later I found out she was there at the club with him. After he told me not to give her his number and all this stuff, right? Like, he didn't mess with her like that, you know. And she worked with me, though. That's the most disrespectful part, you know, to me. And so even if they didn't do anything, she still works with me, right? And I don't know. I just thought it was disrespectful. And because why would he lie in the first place? If he would have told me she was going to be there, it would have been a different story, right? But why would he lie? And so I found out later she was there, and I was just like, that's so crazy. That's why he got punched in the eye. You know? And that's why I dreamt of my sister's ex telling me all this stuff, even though he's passed away. You know, it's just so crazy. So I didn't even feel bad later. I was just like, well, he's probably out doing me dirty, and that's probably why he got punched. Because there's always unseen forces, even though I didn't know what was going on. You know, I eventually found out, you know. And it's like, they took care of it, you know, for me. So, I mean, I didn't even have to do anything. He was the one I was embarrassed in the end, you know? And so that's why I believe, like, there of the unseen forces in the universe. And I'm a strong believer of treating people the way that you want to be treated, you know, because even if you feel like you're getting away with certain things, you're really not, because there's always someone or something outside of us that's watching, you know? And yeah, he got punched hardcore. I didn't even laugh at him though. I didn't. And all the stuff that he did behind my back, you know, or tried to do behind my back, I found it out, you know, eventually. I didn't even have to go look for it. It just came to me. And once I found out, though, I felt like I was really disappointed, because I was like, I could have got away with so much stuff. Like, I should have cheated on him. I should have did this to him. I should have did that. Because I had access to his house a lot of times, especially when he was gone, you know, overseas. And I had his cars and everything. I could have been doing all kinds of stuff. I could have thrown parties. I could have wild parties. Or I could have cheated. But I didn't, because that wasn't where my mind was. I wasn't thinking about scheming him or cheating on him. I was thinking about taking care of the freaking house for him. But he was doing that behind my back, you know. But what goes around comes around, I believe. And so even when he's doing stuff behind my back that I didn't know about until later, you know, I'm sure he's gonna get that karma back for that, you know. But I'm not waiting on it. And then I'll probably get good karma for him not cheating on him or scheming him or stealing his money or stuff, you know, while he's away, you know. But it's like he thought I was going to do that to him, because how I am. Like, he always thought I was cheating, or he always thought I was going to find someone better than him. And so he would treat me a certain type of way so I could stay with him. But the craziest part is that he was doing all that, you know. Make it make sense. And in the end, you know, I'm good. You know, I don't hardly have to be with anyone, but and still be okay, you know. But I'm sure when I get another relationship, I bet you I'm gonna get good karma, because I didn't, even though he did me dirty, you know, I still didn't do what he was doing to me to him, you know. So I think that's why I get good karma when it boils down to my future relationships. So that's why I just didn't do him dirty, because that's just not how I am. But because he did it to me and I wasn't like that, and I didn't do it to him, I'm watching the karma play out pretty much. But that's why I say there's always unseen forces in the universe that sees everything, and that's working, you know, behind the scenes. Even though we don't see them, don't mean that they're not there. That's why you see a lot of people, when they go through certain karma, you just feel like, what? Why are you doing that? Why is that happening to you, you know? And a lot of times it's because of stuff that they were doing behind the scenes that they think that they'll get caught for. You never know, you know? Because you can't really hide anything, you know? Because eventually the universe gives you what you deserve in the end. It'll all just play out, you know, the way it's supposed to. Regardless if you get away with it or for how long you do, you know, eventually you're gonna get it back. Just like if you put good energy out, you know, that'll come back too. It might take some time, but in the end, you get what you put out. So I'm a strong believer in the laws of the universe, you know, and they play out all the time in my face. So that's why you just can't go out and do anything to people, because you just never know. And if you don't think you're being watched, you are, you know. You don't really get away with anything, because God sees it, you know. He's not gonna let that fly. Maybe for a little bit, but not for a long time. But I'm gonna get out of here. So I just wanted to come and talk to you guys and wish you guys a good Thursday. And because it's been a minute. I know this, but I'm probably gonna come on with another video soon, sooner than later. But yeah, I'm probably gonna get off of here. But I love you guys, and I hope that you guys have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.